Hello, Sin Fam! Welcome back to the channel. My name is Cyanide, and if you're new to the channel, I just want to give you an extra special welcome, let you know that we're glad you're here, and hope you enjoy yourself. But, before we begin, you have to go down and smash the crap out of the like button, subscribe to this channel, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from me. Otherwise, Chad over here is going to come over to your door and force your hand in order to click it yourself. I don't think you want that to happen, do you? So, before we begin also, I want to remind you I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, going on until 12 a.m. Eastern time. So after you finish the video, and only after finishing the video, scroll on down to the link in the description, head over there and follow me. And I just want to give a shout out to my boy KillCam. A link to his channel being in the description. Give him a little bit of love. I also want to give a shout out to my boy Crafty Rob. His link to the link for his channel will be in the description as well. Show him a little bit of love as well. We are trying to grow together and game together. Today, we're going to do the Final Fantasy guide. But before we begin that, we're going to be fighting going against Yojimbo and trying our best out here. It just happened to be on as soon as I logged in. I was like, you know what, I can't resist. In this day of the schedule, I need to record a video. So what better way to start than with the good old Yojimbo. And hopefully be able to beat him this time. So the best thing to do here, by the way, this is the slice of right, fellas. Best thing to do here, hold on, let's see if I can get one thing. Woo! I got 1,000 GP out of that. I will go with that. Usually I get none, but I forgot to go this time. The whole point of it is to dodge, and you kind of have to memorize some of the attacks. And I did not do so well that time. I was trying to get to the other side, it didn't work out. Anyway, without further ado, I thought it might be a good idea to go over a little bit of tanking. I know there's other tanking guides out there. I understand there's other tanking guides. They just show you a lot of little symbols and stuff like that. However, one thing to realize is that nobody covered the oh shit button. They just they said, oh, it's a mitigation button. Yeah and no, because not every class has one. But it is not to be just used willy-nilly like your other cooldowns. Let me explain why. I mean, yes, it's mitigation, but let me show you. All right. So, you know about your rotation. Every day's gonna have one. For a Dark Knight, especially, it's gonna be important for you to understand that you need to use Hard Slash, then Siphon Strike followed by the Soul Eater, but the Soul Eater is important. You do not want to miss Soul Eater because that is the one that heals you. It's part of the whole point of being a Dark Knight. And yet I see a lot of people doing abilities 1 and 2 and completely missing Soul Eater, which I don't understand. If it's not on your hotbar, there's something wrong with you and you need to go and rectify that immediately, because it's extremely important. All right, you're obviously going to work in your other stuff as well. The Abyssal Drain is the same thing. Every time that's up, regardless of how many enemies are there, you need to be using that. Why? Not only does it give mitigation because it's an ability, but it heals you. And the nifty thing about that is that the greater the number of enemies that are around you, the more you will heal yourself when you hit Abyssal Drain. Because it drains with a potency of 200 to every target, and it gives you hit points back. So you can heal yourself from every target. Okay, that's important. But here's the important thing. First of all, when going into a boss, and usually when you're pulling anything really, always lead with your ranged attack. A lot of people don't realize that that is what you do, especially for main tanking. All right, because look what the additional effect is. Increased enmity. That is essentially aggro. So we place enmity with aggro wherever you see it. Okay, that is going to ensure that you have enough aggro that no matter what your DPS is doing for that first few moments of the fight, they cannot pull it off of you. And it becomes important because although you do stack enmity really quickly, there's been a couple times here and there where I didn't use that range attack, and it momentarily allowed one person to get hit one time. Also, it's important to note that that's what you're going to use along with your provoke when you're doing tank switching on raids. All right, you're going to use your ranged and provoke. You're going to start with provoke and then use your ranged in order to gain extra aggro. All right, because when you're tank switching, the other tank will die if you don't. I mean, that's just how it is. There's a few boss fights where you have to switch them out, and it has to do with either stacks of debuffs or just the fact that two attacks are going to be really hard hitting on tanks that come in really quickly, and you need to be able to switch to the other tank before your primary tank takes all of the damage. You know what I'm saying? But you know about your cooldowns, like your shadow walls, your ramparts, reprisals 1, dark missionaries. For this is all Dark Knight stuff, but all the classes have these. Okay. These are your cooldowns. They're supposed to help you mitigate, which is important. This right here, you may mistake. You may mistake it for a cooldown, for a normal cooldown. But if you look at the recast, it's 15 seconds. It lasts 7 seconds. It costs mana. That is not just a mitigation, and every class or every tank class has one of these. This is your oh shit button. This is your oh shit, the tank buster's coming in and he's about to crack my dome in half. Let me hit that button so that I don't get completely smeared across the floor like my blood is being used to mop up. All right, every tank has one. It's important that you know where yours is at. Blackest Night is it for the Dark Knight, and it's the best one in the game. It's the best oh shit button in the game. There are ones that last longer. There are ones that make you completely invulnerable, but this one you use every 15 seconds. All right, it allows you to take 25% of the target's of your maximum hit points as a shield. That's a quarter of your health before you take any damage. And if it breaks, you get a free Edge of Shadow, which increases your damage plus does a plus gives damage and potency of 500 without using the mana, because you just used it for your Darkest Night. And it's important that you understand that. And like I said, all the other tank classes have one as well. I don't have their hotbar set up, but I'm still going to attempt to find it. As you can see, for the Gunblade, it's super bull-eyed. That one reduces your hit points to 1 and renders you impervious to most attacks. Well, the only problem with this one is if you don't have a healer that's going to end up healing you within that 8 seconds from First of all, you got a horrible healer who's not paying attention. Second of all, you're at 1 hit point. You know what I mean? No, I know a lot of people say, and we'll get back to the Dark Knight in a second. Like I said, every single tank class has one of these guys. We'll go to the Paladin. And as you can see, Hallowed Ground for the Paladin does the exact same thing, except for it renders you impervious to most attacks for 10 seconds. That's just a 10-second invulnerability, but look at the recast time. 420 seconds. That's your oh shit button, alright? That 100% is your oh shit button for the Paladin. And the Warrior has one as well, guys. And as you can see, the Warrior's one is kind of interesting. It basically allows you for 8 seconds to essentially be unable to go below 1 hit point. So that's their I don't want to die button, but it's not their I don't take damage button. So it's not quite the same thing. It seems that the way I look at it is, I feel like Warriors and Gunbreakers are more reactive tankers, whereas the Dark Knight and the Paladin are, rather than being reactive, are proactive. Meaning a lot of what you do, you stop the damage you're coming in to begin with, rather than reacting to the fact that you're, you know, low in hit points, and my hit points are low, and my healer's having trouble. I need to hit my, you know, my home gang or my, or my oh shit button so I don't die. So what a lot of people don't realize is that the real oh shit button is your Blackest Night, because yeah, you've got Living Dead. That's your reactive button, okay? That's an important reactive button. But you don't really use it that often, because if you have a decent healer, you're never going to be down to almost dead, and you basically have to know if you're going to die within 10 seconds. And then within that 10 seconds, if you die, you come back as undead, and the healer has another 10 seconds to heal you. That's basically what it is. If they don't, you're dead. And it's just, I mean, it's weird. But see, what a lot of people misconstrue is that is not your oh shit button. I never use Living Dead for anything. They misconstrue the Blackest Night as a mitigation button. It is not a mitigation. You do not put Blackest Night into your rotation. Don't be absurd. Blackest Night is not a rotation button. Anybody who says that is a complete and utter moron. And that's just the fact of it. Alright, that's the truth. They've been, oh, it's a great mitigation. It's not a mitigation. That's your oh shit button. That's your, tank buster coming in. Hit that button then and only then. Or if you feel like your hit points are getting low and you need to buy your healer a few seconds. I've never ever used Living Dead. Ever. I've never had to use it. I use the Blackest Night on every single tank buster. I use it on every time my healer is getting, basically breathing heavy, trying to keep up with heals. And that's what you need to understand, is that don't let people misconstrue what that Blackest Night is a mitigation, because it's not. I mean, it looks like it, but it's a shield. It's a shield for a quarter of your hit points. That's not mitigation. That is something's coming in and you need to survive. You hit that. That's why I've actually been able to solo while synced some bosses in dungeons because my party members end up dying or to an AoE effect, and had to finish the fight myself. And it takes a while because I'm a tank, but I've been able to do it. And because of that button right there, and because I have the healing abilities, or the life sucking abilities that Dark Knights have, and Paladins can do it too because they have a heal and they have their Hallowed Ground. But you see what I'm saying? People underrate Dark Knight because they look at this as part of their rotation, and it's not part of your rotation. That's absurd. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It doesn't, it's not, it should not be added to your rotation. That should be used as your oh shit button every time. Guarantee it. It costs too much mana for it to be part of your rotation. You can't afford to not hit Edge of Shadow. You see what I'm saying? You cannot afford to not hit Edge of Shadow, because if you hit this instead, if the boss doesn't break your shield, you don't get to fill your shadow gauge. You see what I'm saying? So please don't use Blackest Night in your rotation. That is your oh shit button. Like, for real. All right, that is your I'm not ready to die yet button. I mean, truthfully and honestly. Okay. Other than that, you got your mitigations like standard. All right, every tank has their mitigations. Make sure you're rotating through your normal mitigations continuously. Don't activate the next one until the full length of the one you previously used has gone through its whole paces. Because that way you can maximize the amount of time that you have your mitigation up. And other than that, that's the easy. Other than that, tanking's easy. You turn on your tank stance, beat the shit out of stuff, dodge mechanics, and make sure that your boss is pointed away from your party. And here's the important thing: when dodging mechanics, you need to understand how the mechanics work. And I did an entire video on mechanics. You can see right about. I guess it's way over there, right in the corner someplace. But yeah, that video will help you out as far as mechanics goes, because I go over the basic mechanics. But here's a little footnotes version or Cliff Notes version for you. When the orange is on the ground, as long as you are out of the orange before it disappears, you will not take spell damage. If you are on the orange, right? If you're on the orange while it disappears, and then you move out of the area before the spell effect happens, you'll still take damage. Because once the orange disappears, it locks in your position as well as the spell's position. All right? That's the important mechanic you need to understand. Okay? And that allows you, because you can, the reason why that's important for a tank to understand is you step out as soon as the orange disappears, you step back in even if the animation hasn't happened yet. Because if you do that, right? If you do that, then the boss won't move. Because the boss was still doing his animation. He's animation locked at that point. Most of the time, not every time. But what that does is that gives you the time to step out of the out of the damage area, back into the damage area before the boss moves, and then your party loves you because your boss didn't move. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful at all, please smash the living shit out of the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your friends. I just want to let you know that I enjoy making these videos, and I hope you enjoy them. I really truly do. If you have any questions about Final Fantasy you'd like me to answer in form of a video, or any other kind of guide you'd like me to make on Final Fantasy XIV, please leave that in the comment section, as well as if there's any games you'd like to watch me play on this channel, or anything you'd like me to talk about while I play a game on this channel. Like I said, I just like to have conversations with you guys and help you out any way I can, give you information. I'm also in engineering, so let me know if you'd like to hear some of that in the comment section. So with all that said, I just want you guys to remember that games are the great unifier, because when you're playing games, it doesn't matter what color your skin is, or what language you speak, or any of that. All that matters to people is the game itself, or all that should matter is games itself. That's why we push so hard to keep it, pure of any political motivations, because it's the last bastion of just being free and loving something that's not political. Just this is meant to be an escape this last bastion of imagination left in the world. And therefore, gamers can and should be unifiers as well. And remember to live your best game. I want you to have an outstanding afternoon, and I'll see you guys in the next one.